Okay, so guys, factors that impact design. So things that could make you change your mind about design, or things that make you think a little harder about design, or things that you may not have realized that you need to think about design, are all in this presentation. So you've got your sheet of notes that you need to write on um, along with this video. So the factors that we're going to consider here are the headings of human-centered factors, social factors, global factors, and environmental factors. You can, pause at any time to catch up. Human-centered factors are going to be what we call Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. There's nothing on this slide that you need to write. Anthropometrics, proxemics, and ergonomics. And those are all things that I have seen with my own eyes on your final exam. So if you comprehend nothing else on this presentation, comprehend the next 4 slides. Except for I feel like I've seen every single thing on this presentation on your final exam, but absolutely the next 4 things. So Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. I would pause right now and write this in the triangle that I provided for you. And Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. So Abraham Maslow was a theorist, like a psychologist. He came up with this theory, his hierarchy of human needs, and it has to do with interior design because physiological and safety have to do with homes. So the having a place to live makes you feel safe, and having those physiological needs. So basically what he says is that you have to meet everything in each level before you can move on to the next level of this pyramid. So you have to have your physiological needs, things that keep you alive, before you can feel safe. So you have to feel safe, all of these things, before you can feel loved and belong. And then after you feel like you have love and you belong, then you can have self-esteem. And after you have self-esteem, then you can reach what we call self-actualization, which are all of these things, which is like adultness and maturity. So you have to get past one level before you can reach the next level. You can't, for example, be homeless and not have food and water and have morals and good problem solving abilities. If you had good problem solving abilities, you wouldn't be homeless and not have food and water. So that has to do with home and safety and physiological needs being in a home. So that is a human-centered factor. What people have and what point they're at in their life impacts design and what you can do for a client, what stage they're at in their life. Like if you've ever been around someone who's just real ornery, they're not in self-actualization. Whereas the opposite, if you've ever worked for someone who is just a pleasure to be around, that means maybe they've got good self-esteem, they feel loved and belong. It affects how design is going to go. All right, big terms. Anthropometrics. This is a big definition. The dimensions or measurements of the human physical body, like short and tall or average height. So you have this photo right here. It does not have an X through it. I would draw an X through it. For example, the height of your kitchen counter and the overhead cabinets is relative to the standard height of a person. Should be in relation to the average height of a person. Your overhead cabinets shouldn't be too high for the user. Otherwise, that's like completely useless. If your cabinets are not able to be reached, you can't get in them and use the things in them, like what's the point in having them? You should just have all lower cabinets. That would just make sense, right? So the height of things in relation to your body are anthropometrics. Proxemics is a study of space and how we use it. Like, think about where you sit to do your homework at home. Where are things laid out in relation to you and how you use them? Or in your kitchen or in your bathroom? How are things laid out in relation to when and how you use them? So its technical definition, the study space and how we use it, how it makes us feel more or less comfortable, and how we arrange objects and ourselves in relation to space. Like, for example, people who like a really open space, they don't like a lot of clutter. That's part of proxemics. Like, that's how we arrange objects in relation to ourselves in space. The opposite, like hoarders, they keep all these special items because they like mean something to them. So these are all proxemics, but in interior design, it's the arranging things, like putting the things that you're going to use often closest to you. So here we've got a picture of a workspace, a desk. You've got like pencils, scissors, papers that you're going to need to reference really often, really close to you. Whereas you've got like these closed tins of stuff and books and stuff that you may not need to use as often up here, where you're going to need to stand to get them. Closed up books over here that you may not need as often over here. So things you need most often are closest. Things you need less often, a little further away. Even less often, a little further away. Really less often, even further away. Like where I'm sitting at my desk right now, obviously, mouse. I use it all the time. Really close. Water bottle. Really close. Pencils that I can reach. Really close. Post-its, because I use them all the time. Pretty close. I don't have to get up to get them. But then things that I may need to get at some point, but I don't use constantly, a little further away, like notebooks or other papers that I may need to reference, but I don't need to constantly reference them multiple times a day. They're close, but not exactly right here. That's proxemics. Ergonomics, think desk chair. That's the easiest example. But ergonomics refers to how something fits with how people move, think, or behave, also known as human engineering. Very, very interesting. I love this central picture. So if you've ever wondered like how high things should be in relation to you, this is your perfect example. So the top of your screen should be level with your eyes. So I'm just like thinking right now, the top of my computer screen is higher than my eyes, which is not good. Your arms should be relaxed and by your sides, and your mouth should be close. I guess it kind of is. Lumbar support of your chair comfortably fits into the low back. I guess I don't lean back when I sit in this chair. It's weird. I'm on edge. Your hips either level or slightly higher than the knees. They are, but it's because I'm sitting on a pillow because I'm short. Both feet comfortably on the floor or on a footrest. My toes are on the floor because my heels don't reach it because I'm short. Elbows at right angles, forearms just above level of desk. Yeah, that's true. If I wasn't sitting on this pillow, though, my arms would be pretty bendy. And screen straight in front and approximately at arm's length. That's about 6 inches past my arm, but that guy in the picture, his screen's past his arm, so I'm pretty close to that guy in the picture. So just think about that. If you have like a desktop computer at home, like question that. Is it like that? Where is your Chromebook right now in relation to where you're sitting in my room? So that's interesting. Look at this feller in his squishy chair. I don't think he's really following this graphic. But you guys, you probably would prefer to be sitting in a place like this, a lump, pretty much a lump. And basically ergonomics is saying like if you have good ergonomics, you're going to perform better based on the fact that you're going to be more productive from how effectively you're sitting, because like you're going to be more awake, you're going to be less productive and effective because you're going to be like hurting or tired or you can't move as well. So if you've ever thought about like why are these desks at school so uncomfortable? They're made like that on purpose. It's not because someone's dumb. They're made like that because you need a good work surface, because you need to have a right angle back and posture, And they're made to hopefully keep you awake, even though some of you are master sleepers. So it was actually made that way on purpose. Next category, social factors. 4 social factors, nothing written down here: culture, religion, building codes, and laws. What do we or other cultures do that we design around? You need to think about that. Like pause and think about it. I don't think I'm going to actually say an answer right now. I just decided that. I want you to think about what we or other cultures do that we design around. Like, what is something that we do, like as a tradition in American culture, or another culture does as a tradition, that we design our homes around? And write that on your notes. If you want to talk to a friend about it, you can. If you come up with more than one answer, I'll be impressed. And I need to write myself a sticky note, because it was approximately close to me with my pencil. And we'll talk about it on Thursday along with our other stations. So please come up with that and have that ready and write it on your notes that I'll be looking at. Similarly, another social factor, what religious aspects or traditions are there that we or others design around? Writing that down as well. So are there things that have to do with certain religions, your religion or another religion that you know of, that we design our homes around, or design any type of space around? I guess it doesn't even have to be a home. It could be design a place of worship around. Like a central point, an idea, a theory. I don't know if I'm trying to hint at something. What about religion has to do with design? Okay. And you may or may not know these answers, so I'm going to talk about them a little bit. But what building codes do we have that we design around? For example, you have to put a bathroom fan or a window in a bathroom for it to be up to code to let moisture escape. I know we talked about that in this class. Another example, you have to have a window or exterior door and a closet in a bedroom for it to be considered a bedroom. You have to have a GFCI outlet within 6 feet of any water source in a house. Things like that are building codes that we have to design around. So if any one of you have a parent that works in the housing field, so that could be they're an architect, they just do construction on their own time, or they're part of the construction crew, tile, flooring, windows, plumbing, inspector, HVAC, electrician, anything. If they work in homes, real estate, as their job, ask them about building codes. And I would love it if you bring in one or more building code that you learn from them by Thursday, and we can talk about them. The Americans with Disabilities Act is another social factor. This is the law part of a social factor. So laws come into place, if you've never noticed, because something bad happened and they had to make a law about it. So don't do bad things. So the Americans with Disabilities Act came in because people that had disabilities weren't being treated correctly. So you should treat them correctly. So the law was made that public places have to have things like sinks, ramps, push buttons, braille on signs, written and spoken words, covered walkways, wide doorways, and wheelchair accessible bathrooms in order for anybody with a disability to be able to use these public places. And these are all symbols that have to do with them. So if you think about our school, we have sinks that anybody could use. We have ramps to get in buildings. We have push buttons that open doors. We have braille on our signs. We have written and spoken words in certain places, like we make announcements, as well as written announcements. We have covered walkways. We have wide doorways. And we have wheelchair accessible bathrooms. We have all of these things in our school because it's a public place, and any public place has to have all of these features. It wasn't until about 6 or 7 years ago we did not have all of these things here at West. Like the buttons, the handicap buttons to open the doors, we didn't have those. We didn't have the covered walkway between like my hall and the like where the health room is. That wasn't there. And we got in trouble for not having those things. And someone said that they were going to like report the school if we didn't get those things here. And so we did. We had to, because the Americans with Disabilities Act, it's a law. You have to do that. It's not an option. You have to do it if someone asked for it. So we did it. Next up, global factors: sourcing, channels of distribution, and innovations. This is like business and money, which I don't like. I'm not good at it. It's just as bad as math for me. So sourcing is like where things come from. So the things to talk about here are like things coming from America versus things not coming from America. And I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong version of this, but it's just things to think about, basically. So like if things are made in America, they could potentially, like if you buy something that's made in America, it's going to get to you quicker. That's a positive because it's not coming from so far away. If you buy something made in America, probably going to cost a little more because we as Americans typically get paid more than certain other places. And then things not made in America basically have the opposite things of what I just said. Going to take a little longer to get things made from somewhere else, and going to be a little cheaper because people who work in some other places may work for a little less money. But quality, not quality, sometimes. So think about sourcing that way, and that could impact design because if people want like high quality products, they might want them to come from a certain place. If they want to spend more money or less money, but high budget, low budget, they may want them to come from a certain place. Channels of distribution, it's another lovely business term, basically means like how many people does a product have to go through to get from the person who makes it to the consumer. So producer up here at the top to the consumer down here at the bottom. So here's like a direct channel of distribution, meaning the producer makes it, consumer gets it. So would be like a farmer grows a plant and has a produce stand at his farm, and you go buy a cucumber from him. Direct. A retail channel. Farmer grows his cucumber, Ingles buys it, you go buy it from Ingles. Retail channel. Wholesale channel would be farmer grows his cucumber, Packing House is a wholesaler distributor, buys it from the farmer, and then maybe Ingles, I don't know, buys it from the Packing House, and then you buy it from Ingles. So there's like all these other two middlemen. And then there's an agent channel where you've gone through even more people. So maybe you wanted some like, I can't even think of something, turmeric spice that's not like grown here. You got to get it from another country. They got to get it to this country, and then they got to like bring it in from other places. So when you invite all these middlemen in, it ups the price because you're having to pay more men to get it into these places. So how that has to do with design is a lot of people who hire interior designers, they want these like exotic products that may not be sold here. So they have to bring them in from other places, which involves having all these middlemen and coming in from all these channels of distribution to pay all these people to get them here, and freight, and like where you gonna get it from, and paying all these people to make them, and then it eventually costs more, and that impacts it. And then people are like, well, I don't understand why it costs so much. Do you understand what I'm having to go through to get it here? That's why it costs so much. It came from Timbuktu. And there's only one of them in Timbuktu. Okay, and the next one that's a global factor is innovations. Like when people invent something really innovative, really cool and crazy, that makes competition in the world. People wanting to create other really cool and crazy things, which drives the price up of things because everybody's in competition for each other. Oh, I made this other cool, crazy thing. Now my thing is better than your thing. And my thing is better than your thing. And all of a sudden, there's all these cool, crazy things. But because there's so many, this boom and cool, crazy things, they're all really expensive because everybody wants them. And when there's like a need for all these cool, crazy things, people can charge whatever they want because everybody wants the cool, crazy thing. And then we have a big change in the world because it's this new impact, this boom of like, ooh, cool, crazy things. And everybody's copying each other. And that's how stuff starts costing more. Okay, last factor, environmental factors. Now we take a different turn and we're not all businessy and money hungry. We're going to the earth. So green design, sustainability, LEED, and ethics with design and environment. Last four. Green design. This definition you need to write. When the design is environmentally friendly. That's all that means. Like if you're going green, that means you're interested in the environment. You're into recycling. You're interested in reusing stuff. You're interested in turning the lights off. You're interested in not wasting food. You're into the environment. Sustainability is super duper important. It's a part of going green that is not talked about as much as it should be probably. But it's when materials can easily be replenished or will last for longer than normal. It'd be a sustainable material. For example, bamboo grows so fast it's considered sustainable. So when we talked about flooring a few weeks ago, bamboo is considered a sustainable flooring material because it can grow so fast, where like oak flooring is not considered a sustainable material because it takes hundreds of years to grow an oak forest, where it's going to take like 10 to grow a bamboo forest because it grows so fast and oak grows so slow. Or something that would last a really long time, like people using composite decking instead of wood decking. That's a sustainable material. Composite decking, if you don't know what that is, if you look in here on the peninsula where like the cleaning supplies and scissors are, those are composite decking boards actually as the top for it. And it's like this plasticky, hard-wearing material that'll last for hundreds of years. And they're really expensive, but they will last forever and ever. And that's a sustainable material to use as a deck floor instead of using wood, which will, rot in, 20 years probably. LEED. LEED is an acronym for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. I know I've seen this on your exam. And that's a certification that builders and designers can get that makes them more desirable to hire for people who are really concerned about the environment. Like a builder can be what they called a LEED certified builder, or they just call themselves a green builder, but they say they have a LEED certification. And they can put that like qualification on their houses, and there's people out there, like groups of people. I mean, I mean this in a good way, but think like hippies ish, if you need to think of like a group of people type of thing, who are like, I want a LEED designed house, because that means that this house has to go through this like checklist of all of these environmentally friendly products and tests, like really energy efficient windows, energy efficient appliances. They would have to use sustainable materials like bamboo flooring. Their HVAC system would have to be like super efficient. And they would get this like stamp of approval that says it's a LEED designed house. So it's a desirable thing. And then last but not least, ethics, which means like your morals, what you believe in with design and the environment. So concerns like veganism and deforestation. Like, as a designer, you might have to decide what you're okay with doing. Like, if you're a vegan, are you okay with using fur and leather in your designs? Um, and with deforestation, like, are you okay with using hardwood floors in your designs? Are you okay with, like, you have to decide which forest you're okay with getting your products from? Like, if they're totally killing certain rainforests and killing the homes of certain animals, you might say, well, I'm not okay with getting my products from Malaysia or something because of the impact the forests are having there. I only want my products from South America. I don't know. I'm not up to date on my deforestation, unfortunately. But those are things that you may have to have an opinion on as a designer. If you're okay with, like, them happening, or if you want to stand your ground on it. So, all factors that impact design, finish those notes up, and you are going to complete the worksheet also. And when you complete the worksheet, you're going to take a picture of it and upload it to the assignment on Classroom, please. And you're going to hang on to these notes because you know that notes come in handy for this class. So always best to have them, right?